What happens is we have 274 polling stations for which we shall hold the elections in Maracha. That is for this round of elections on the 15th. We have, of course, as you may know, it's the presidential, parliamentary, for both directly elected and the women. We've received materials for 274 polling stations, and these materials include reusable items that are usually the transparent boxes, the basins, cordoning tape, lamps to use at the polling stations, and also the actual boxes, metallic black boxes containing the polling materials for each polling station. The materials have generally been delivered in batches, and they arrived in good shape. The materials were generally in good shape. The boxes for Maracha arrived in the district on Sunday, the morning of Sunday. That was Sunday the 11th? Yes, the 11th. That's when we received the materials. Of course, the candidates were available as stakeholders to observe the arrival, and the materials were generally in good shape. There were a few broken seals. Those were about 5 broken seals roughly, and usually the commission plans for this. What happens is we replace those seals. The ones transportation seals were broken, and but there was no major damage to any box, and accordingly those materials await dispatch to the respective polling stations. Of course, dispatch will probably be on the eve of the election day. The dispatch of the metallic boxes with polling materials. The dispatch for the reusable items, we shall perhaps do that tomorrow, the 14th. Because those ones are not very sensitive in terms of the fact that they cannot generally be tampered with that much. The risk of tampering is limited. Then, of course, as far as readiness, the Commission has also really facilitated training for a number of officials, the polling officials, to be able to handle these processes at the various polling stations have been trained. And it's our hope that we are ready to actually handle the elections. We await the receipt of BVVK gadgets, and those should be delivered by sometime tomorrow. At least we are aware that they will be on their way maybe late today, and sometime tomorrow they should be here. And the moment those are received, then we should be really ready to conduct the polls at the various polling stations. What happens is for issues of the officials' deployments, these are issues that have been handled at the sub-county level by sub-county election officials, but I should be also add that at this stage I've not received any critical protests about deployment of officials here or there from candidates. Of course, as a check and balance, the candidates are usually expected to cite very clear cases of officials whose engagement may be questionable because of one reason or the other, but of course that's with evidence, and if those are brought to our notice, we are expected to act on that. But I should also clarify that at this stage I've not received any specific request by a candidate about the redeployment or even the omission of an official that we had identified for the activity. Then, as far as our hard to reach areas, the Commission made a request to the Ministry of Local Government to have locally mobilized cars for purposes of handling the delivery and retrieval of election materials. And the district was able to offer us about 8 of such cars. Of course, we shall, together with the other stakeholders, determine the best deployment method for the resources we have. And what will happen is some of those hard to reach places certainly have to have a camp. Like there is already a plan, at least as far as our planning, we already think Tara and Ajira will probably share a camp that should be able to handle those issues related to delivery and even retrieval of items and results later. So that is a bit about deployment. For the materials, we hope to dispatch the bulk of the materials with trucks from the district that will be escorted by the police. We have had several meetings related to confirmation of the route charts of these trucks, and we await some final meetings in order to actually determine which truck will go where. And of course, at that stage, before departure, the candidates will have the opportunity as well to be able to be present at this point, and probably also notify their agents after having been informed about the delivery schedule of the materials. Yes. Related to the tally center, the commission has done whatever is necessary to ensure that the connections that we need to transmit data from the tally center are in place. The tally center designated for our work here is the office of the district election administrator. And at this stage, we have received the equipment related to tallying, which are the computers we should be able to use. There has also been installation of about three options for network that we can use, which should allow for a limited for mitigation of any failures in case one or the other network is not accessible. But we do have MTN as one of the networks installed. We do have the NITA Uganda has a network installed as well, and there is also Brooklyn, which is the other third network. So accordingly, transmission should be managed with those options. Of course, there are things the Commission can regulate and guide about, and as far as the campaigning, there are various methods of campaigning. And of course, often some candidates will use some of the methods that may be beyond the control of either stakeholders in security or the Commission itself during the closure. But of course, we appeal to candidates that an election is a process, and there is that possibility that a competent court of law can still judge that you are campaigning following closure on the basis of those other methods. So the appeal would be for candidates to observe electoral law, which requires that campaigning is supposed to end at a certain period before the polls. Yeah, those are clearly there in the electoral law, and it's our appeal to candidates. Why the Commission may not get you on some of these omissions. We know the outcome of an election is challenged on the basis of examining everything related to the process. So in the same way, an opponent could take advantage and exercise that at a later level before the competent courts of law. If the judgment is that you still continue campaigns beyond what was designated as a campaign period, then it could also follow that whatever outcome from the process could be set aside by a competent court of law. Yeah, so accordingly, it's our expectation that as the Commission guided, campaigns end on the 13th of January, today being the 13th of January for the positions of the President and the MPs, directly elected and women. We shall indeed observe that. Of course, some candidates have talked about certain things they may do that may be construed as campaigning. For example, there are issues of issuance of formal appointments to agents, but I would think the best way would be to properly manage them in a way that does not be that cannot be judged as campaigning by an opponent. That is what I would advise. While the commission may not police and govern everything because of the gaps that are there in terms of space and time, I would think it would be responsible for the candidates to exercise extra caution in ensuring that they do not do anything that contravenes electoral law. Yeah.
Candidate for parliamentary seat in the 12th Parliament for Maracha constituency. We have been here for harmonization meeting. We want to appreciate the returning officer and all his election officials who are present. Together, we want to also appreciate the district security agencies who attended this meeting and gave us their brief and guidance. We received it very well and positive, and we are going to disseminate the information that we have received to our agents so that we have a peaceful election time on Thursday, 15th. And our appeal to all the voters, our appeal to all our agencies, let's do the right thing rather than trying to maneuver and do wrong things that can cause insecurity and chaos in the election process. And we trust and believe God has chosen his person, and the person who is going to win will take it all. And all of us will rally behind this person here. We want to encourage all the voters on Thursday, 15th, to come up in big numbers to vote. Come as early as 7 a.m. and the voting is going to stop at 4. If you are not there by 4, you don't get to blame anybody. So we are encouraging you to come so that let 4 p.m. get you maybe in the queue so that we'll be allowed to continue voting and we get the best results. We need your votes. That one vote is the winning vote. That will enable us to win. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm called Patience. I'm the resident district commissioner Maracha, and I'm in charge of security. I want to appeal to the voters that as Maracha, we are very prepared. People should go out to vote, and nobody should intimidate the voters. Security is everywhere. We are going to deploy properly. People should not get scared that they are going to be beaten. No. In Maracha, we are promising to deliver a peaceful election. And we want to appeal to the candidates to be in charge their agents. People should not fight. This is not a die or do. After elections, we shall have Maracha. For us as security, we are in charge, and we promise all people in Maracha a conducive voting environment. I want to thank you.
Okay. This is Adumayero Justus, a candidate for Member of Parliament for Maracha East. Indeed, it was an honor to participate in this harmonization program, whereby we had different security agencies and with my comrades, and some of them were able to send their agents. And indeed, it was well done, and we were able to draw a map on how the election materials will be dispatched from the EC offices to various polling stations. We are also able to come up with a roadmap on how these materials will be delivered back to the EC offices in a more transparent manner. And I would like to thank everyone who has turned up for this important meeting. And my only message to all the voters and our supporters is, indeed, let's trust in the process, and indeed, let's turn up in big numbers and practice the constitutional right of voting on that particular day. And I also wish well to all my comrades in the struggle. And indeed, if we follow the guidelines that have been given to us, we'll have more transparent, fair, and free elections on that very day. We have been able to recruit all actually the first thing was to assess and also to examine all the agents that will be helping us on the election day. We have done that through also vetting process, and we'll be issuing them with the tags and appointment letters as well. And we have been able to brief them on how to conduct it in a proper manner on the D-Day. I think so far, so good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Agadibo Emmanuel here. I think most know me as Monopoly. I'm a recording artist, I'm a development practitioner, I'm a businessman. That is a brief introduction about myself. I'm a contesting member of Parliament and a National Unit Platform in Maracha County. Basically, we are for harmonization meeting today, and me, I loved what I saw actually and what we discussed, because we want all a peaceful election. Yeah, we don't want fracas, we don't want war even could escalate if we couldn't do this. Yeah, at least today we were here, we saw how things are going to be run, how things are going to be dispatched. The Electoral Commission actually did it for us like the way we expected. We've seen the ballots already here, so we're just waiting for the day. Yeah, that is it.
The party you are contesting on has recently been involved in wrangles with security and so on. What do you expect in the few remaining days to election day, especially regarding your party?
Regarding my party, yes, other places have been a little disturbed by the police. But here, basically in Maracha, it has been not bad. We've not been stopped so much. So me, I feel Maracha is going to be peaceful. I can talk for Maracha because that is where I hail from right now. The process here is not so bad as it is in other parts of the country. For me, I feel it's going to be a nice one. But we're still on the protest vote. The definition of protest is not the way people take it. We are saying this is vote protection. After you casting your vote, move some 30 to 20 meters away, and then you also watch how things are going to take place there. Yeah, I think I would be satisfied because I feel everything is a little smooth than what I'd expected. Yeah, you know, we the opposition, we know our hands normally get tied during such processes. But for me, I think it is a little smooth this time. And yeah, we have signed so many agents all over all the polling stations, at least 2, that we will be looking at how the process is going to take place. At least now we are in the digital world. We've provided them with most of them have smartphones. They will be filming and taking the activities that will take place on that day. So my appeal to the young people is that even after the elections, they will still be live. Even after politics, they will still be live. So we can only grow our country when we are all alive. Yeah, when we cause fracas and chaos, it could lead to a lot of loss of even lives, or people could get injured. So me, I'm appealing to the young people. Yes, let's go and cast this vote. Yes, we constitute the biggest number. Let's use the number to our advantage. At least that is what democracy entails. To the young people, you go and vote and at the leader of your choice, but do it peacefully.